Greetings, fellow Earthlings. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of And Another Thing with Dave. I want to thank all of our listeners from all over the world. Please do subscribe and share if you're not already. All right, let's get into it. Greetings, fellow Earthlings. This is Dave Smith with another episode of the podcast And Another Thing with Dave. In this episode, we're going to be talking about government conspiracies. Do you trust the government? We're going to talk about some proven conspiracies that have been outed through the Freedom of Information Act, and we're going to delve deep into some side topics as well. In this episode, I'm joined by True Dab God from the Stereo app. Enjoy.
Okay, so I have a question. Everyone talks about when shit hits the fan, and there are a lot of people like us who are woke. What are your plans to push back against these tyrants?
Good question, Queen. Thanks for coming in and thanks for asking. You probably have a better answer than I do and another thing on here.
Let's come back to that. How do we push back?
I can tell her right off rip as we keep pushing through these bubbles that the only way I can see pushing back right now is just by doing what we're doing right now, trying to elevate awareness. You know, like you said, those of us who are woke, they stole the term woke and they use it on the left now. So I'm glad you're able to take that back from them, Queen, and use it for what we're talking about, because it's a great example of waking up to some of these harsh realities and just beginning to come to terms with the fact that they're real. And then we begin to find out, well, how are we going to push past this? How are we going to overcome this shit? Well, the very first step is we have to get people across the board, all of our fellow countrymen, to all stop being divided by all these different means and start realizing who the problem is, and then we can start coming up with viable solutions. I think we're still in the step where we're trying to get people to see the problem. There's still a giant demographic of people that think 9/11 was not an inside job, for instance, and they still believe that Obama got Osama killed with SEAL Team 6. There's a lot of people who just don't understand all these little things, and we just need to raise awareness on all these different things. Some of those things aren't exactly relevant per se to what's going on right now, not immediately, but they are, because they're an indicator of the bigger picture, and they help people realize that no, we can't trust the government, which means no, we can't trust the media. We can only trust each other. We can only trust evidence, suppressed or not. We have to unearth it, and we have to begin to piece it together ourselves. So I'm sorry I don't have a better answer for you than that, and I really wish I did, and I'm not trying to breeze past it, and I know and another thing isn't either, and I know he wants to touch on it later, but I think the step we're still stuck in is raising awareness and spreading legitimate information, even though it's going to be labeled as misinformation. We still know what's real, and we still got to push it out there, and we still got to keep researching ourselves. You know, just like doctors do. They keep going and going and going past their med school. We got to do the same thing. We got to constantly brush up on what's real, constantly be able to amend our beliefs with when new evidence comes to light. That's just what we have to do as conscientious individuals.
Thank you. Let me go ahead and comment on that real quick, because this is so important, and it really comments to everything that we're talking about. Everything we're talking about is under this umbrella. How do we push back? Well, the first way is through, getting rid of the barriers that divide us. I don't care which bathroom you use. I don't care who marries who. If you're in love, you should be able to marry that person. Love is better than hate. These are all stupid issues that are.
Yep, I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care who you voted for. I don't care your religion. I don't care what car you drive. I don't care if you like iPhone or Android. Exactly.
All of this shit is. I don't care what sports team you like. But,
exactly.
These are all to divide us. Oh, you're Raiders? I'm Niners. Fuck you. I'm
Fuck
Giants.
You.
I'm Giants. You're Dodgers. Fuck you. Let's fight. Like, what? No, man. So we start there. We are all one, right? So let's start there, man. And it's the 1% against the 99. Remember that. Anytime
how
where
the fuck can they beat us? How could they possibly beat us? 99%, bro.
The only way is by division. And anytime you hear the media saying, look out for that person, that group of people, that's them dividing us. So first, look through that lens. Be so critical of the mainstream media. That anytime they say we got to worry about Muslims, oh fuck, what do they want to do to the Muslim world? Oh shit, we got to worry about Russia? Fuck, what do they want to do to Russia? You got to look through that lens. And then there's all this historical background to show that's what's up. You know, I think we've fucked with 85 different countries in their elections since World War II. So first, how do you push back? Spread information, have conversations right now like we're doing, especially across dividing lines, which I think stereo is great for, talking from people from different areas, all different socioeconomics, you name it. Um, and then sharing information. So, you know, I put together this YouTube channel. First, first share, you know, follow everybody so we can build a bigger community. Follow Dab God, follow myself. We'll follow you back. If anybody leaves a comment you like, follow them.
Follow Meatballs. Right, exactly. Follow
the
Leash.
people that
Follow
the people
anybody
that
who's
you
leaving
hear.
comments that you can resonate with.
Yeah, if somebody drops a bomb, follow that person, man.
We'll build a
They're
network.
they're in your army. Those are your people. And then, you know, try to access and share information. So I put together a YouTube channel with a huge list of documentaries about all this shit. So, and another thing with Dave on YouTube, under playlists, there's all these documentaries, you know, U.S. politics, Venezuela, the history of us fucking in foreign elections, the CIA, the FBI, the Black Panthers. I go deep in, you know, to all this shit, and I do podcasts under videos. I break down some of that shit and talk about it, but playlists is just where I'm trying to share information. So do the same thing, you know, if you see a documentary that you love, save that shit and spread it
Share
like
it.
gospel.
That's one thing I love about this app and the groups that we plug into and UPC in general, man. UPC, all they do on their group chat, you got all these motherfuckers constantly in the free time they might find researching different things just like you do and putting your links up, and they'll constantly be giving us links on the group chat. Constantly
Damn.
links to new information and shit. It's fucking enriching, bro. I fucking love it.
Yeah, well, what about Mark Cuban taking that broadcast company from that man that started it?
Yeah, Mark Cuban's another one of these silver spoon indoctrined ass pieces of shit. There's no doubt about it. I highly doubt you could find a single NBA, NFL, MLB owner that isn't a piece of shit. I'm sorry to generalize all of them, but the vast majority of them, they're all pieces of shit, and they're the problem in this country.
Yep.
And I watch their sports. I grew up watching them, love them, grew up playing them. But it doesn't change the fact that, you know, we're going to call a spade a spade.
Yeah, man. Y'all know my whole thing on Elon, man. When I started researching Wernher von Braun, and I found out that book that Wernher von Braun wrote about how people were going to colonize Mars and live on Mars, and that the leader of the colony on Mars, and the leader of the guy that took people from Earth to Mars to live, in the book was named Elon. When I found that out, I'm like, yo, they mocking us, bro, with the SpaceX shit.
Right.
You feel me? That's why SpaceX, because that shit is never going to happen. People aren't going to Mars. Man, look, man, they had Richard Branson and Virgin Galactic telling people they was going to Mars. Who was telling them before that? In the 60s, the moon mission. And man, they've been psychologically preparing people for this shit. And we fall for it every motherfucking time. And Tesla and Wernher von Braun, when he died, he left a quote on his tombstone that said, God showed his glory through the, God showed his glory through the soul of the firmament. So there you go. You got the man who made the rocket telling you that there's something up there preventing people from getting to outer space. And we just ignore all of it.
Wow.
Man.
Meatballs. Fuck. Follow that guy.
Yeah, I got people. I'm already upsetting people. You better stop talking about my man Cuban. Them's fighting words. That's what I already am getting messages saying.
Yeah, man. I don't think they got that much power. I mean, I don't think that they can. I think they know their limitations, right? That's why they keep us confined into this. You feel me? This fairy tale world that they keep us controlled by, right? They know the limitations that were set by the Creator when this earth was created, and that's why they spend a lifetime trying to indoctrinate us into this pseudo-scientific world that they would like us to live in, and it's keeping us products to the industry. As far as, I mean, healthcare, we're running on germ theory, we're running on pseudoscience. I mean, when it comes to outer space, pseudoscience, we're running on fairy tales. It might as well be the magic school bus to people. I mean, so yeah, bro, I think they know the limitations, but I mean, I think that what they're doing with that damn Hedron Collider, that's more spiritual
Yeah.
than anything else,
Oh
man.
yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah,
that's
bro.
all spiritual. I mean, Von Braun said he was trying to open up a portal to demons.
That's what they're doing. Same fucking thing. Oh my god, bro. I don't even know if they
Demons?
haven't done it yet.
Well, is it demons? Is it
Well, demons. Listen,
extraterrestrials?
demons could be a word that sums that all up. Extraterrestrials, demons, interdimensional beings. You know,
Thank you.
it's something
Thank you.
that it can be all inclusive as an umbrella
Thank you.
term.
And
'Cause
another, hey, bro, you know that's the one, that's the golden rule, bro. What my man Vlad say? Aha! You better not talk about them shekels.
oh shit.
The best part of any politics lately was Reddit versus Wall Street.
Boom.
Two things here. I'm trying to figure out if the app is intentionally getting me out because I'm listening. I'm at work, which is why I'm not really leaving a lot of comments. And I noticed that it seems like every 40 minutes or so, it's like kicking me to another talk. I don't know if that's just me or if anyone else is experiencing that. Number two, I'm a new mom, and I noticed because my best friend, she is an anti-vaxxer. I was never an anti-vaxxer. I just always looked at them kind of cautiously. And so having my son, I decided after he got like his first initial shots for 6 months, I decided I wasn't vaccinating him anymore. I just feel like naturally he can get what he needs, and if you don't like that, hey, that's you. um, but long story short, when I told his pediatrician this, the pushback, it's just so extreme, and I don't know if that is due to them, further perpetuating the agenda, or if they just really.
Lesh, it's this
I
bad.
think she's. Oh, go ahead.
I went to Kaiser. I had a colonoscopy and an endoscopy. So they had me from each end, right? They asked me, "Do you want a vaccine?" And I didn't want to say that I'm anti-vaccine because then I knew they'd shoot me up when I was out. So I said, "No, I don't want to overtax my system. I'll do it next time." When I woke up, they'd given me 2 fucking vaccines, dude.
Yeah, that's what they do. They'll vaccinate you when you're out. They'll also chip you when you're out. I've seen Have you seen that yet?
No.
They chip you when you're out now. They've done it since like '08, and they do it in hip replacements, breast implants, knee replacement surgeries, titanium rods. They chip all of those without telling you or asking.
But this happened to me, right? So I'm first person, right? And like
Hey,
I was waiting.
I got a
I was
titanium
waiting.
rod in my femur. I'm not so sure I'm not chipped, bro. But yeah, I know what you're saying. It's
Yeah,
still
so I was
startling, bro.
it's totally startling. I felt totally violated, and then people are like, "Well, fuck, you should sue him." But I haven't noticed any side effects or anything, or I would have I'd have been on the hunt for a lawyer.
Well, I'm sure you'll notice them when they want you to.
If they really just don't like to hear someone, trying to, they feel like they're being challenged, basically. I don't know which one it is, because I went to this doctor because she seemed to be a genuine person, who, cared about my son. And even when I first talked to her, because when I first had him, I wasn't sure if I was going to vaccinate or not. So it's pretty interesting hearing this stuff from you guys. Because I mean, it's just it's just crazy once you open your eyes to what you can see. I guess I'll put it that way. But good talk.
We are far
Thank
from
you.
free. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for listening. Yeah, we're far from free once you start digging. You know, they shot me up against my own will, so against my direct request.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Again, in my mind, un-American.
Totally. Like that's some shit we point a finger at another country for, right?
Yeah, that's CCP shit.
Who is your?
Pretty sure that guy's underage. Am I wrong? I don't know.
I don't know. It sounded like it.
Yeah, some people refuse to see things for what they are. I say if you're blind at this point, it's because you want to stay blind, because it's right in front of your face.
Yeah, you sound like my friend Vlad. He says the same thing. He's given up in a lot of ways on a lot of the sheeple, and I try not
Yeah.
to, but man, it's fucking hard
Yeah.
sometimes how ignorant people are and just how they almost are intentionally oblivious to reality. Like that's where you begin to start wondering about certain people. Like I don't know what else to tell you, man.
Yeah.
Like the people who
What?
don't want to look into Bill Gates at all, but they were like, "Hey, wait a second! I want you to list all 22 countries, or I refuse to believe any of it." Like, oh my God,
Right.
man.
Or what kills me is somebody will have that attitude, and then I'll even give them the link, like on Facebook or whatever, and they'll be like, "Dude, I'm not gonna watch your bullshit." Like, whoa, man. So you want to have an argument about something, but we can't even agree. We can't even start from having the same information. Like, what?
Right. That doesn't make any sense. Even in any court case litigated in this corrupt system, there's discovery. You have to share the information with the alternate side. That's just the way it works.
Right. And I'm open to that with anybody. We could go documentary for documentary.
Yeah, me
And
too,
who's the
considering I was them, bro. I was them. I didn't come into this world thinking the government's corrupt or that they're like I was them. You know what I mean? It's the
Thank
same
you.
reason why I'm pro life. It's because I was a baby born. I was born here too. Like I could have easily been aborted. I could have been. My mom biologically was not in a good situation. In fact, I was given up for adoption because of it. It's like, dude, I am so thankful I wasn't aborted, and I'm not religious in any capacity. You don't have to be God fearing to be life protecting.
Right. And I want to say the same thing. You know, I didn't grow up a conspiracy theorist, and I hate that term. I think I'm a truth
Right.
seeker. Conspiracy
Exactly.
theorist. I think I heard you say this in a talk the other day that term was created by the CIA to
Somebody I'm friends
disingenuine.
with said that. Yeah.
Okay, and I've heard that before, and I really liked that
Right.
hearing that on your talk, and I appreciate you
Most
getting
definitely.
real like that because it's one of those, it's a disinformation smear campaign. So now anybody who starts researching a conspiracy is some tinfoil hat Alex Jones motherfucker, and even Alex
And
Jones,
worse,
no matter what you think
it's
about
it's
him.
stair stepping past that now too, to the point where we actually are going to begin getting labeled domestic terrorists. It's worse than just being discredited as a conspiracy theory. Now we're going to be ostracized for being domestic terrorists in certain ways. That's what we're leaning towards right now, as you see.
Right. Right. But I grew up a happy little kid in a small, idyllic American town. My neighbors fucking had horses and shit. You know, I was just a joy filled, happy little kid in the 70s. And then as my consciousness started developing, when I was 14 or 15, the nuclear threat with Russia, and that's
Hmm.
kind of with the birth of heavy metal was, oh fuck, there isn't even going to be a future because there's no hope. We're going to all be annihilated in a nuclear war. So that, in my mind, is what gave birth to heavy metal. That level of hopelessness on such a foundational level of like, I never thought I would live to see the day of I turned 25. Like I literally believed that in my soul.
Yeah, they made you. They made you believe that, bro. That was the whole
And then you
point with the Cold
and then you
War and all
start
that
learning shit, and you're like, Malcolm X assassinated, Martin Luther King assassinated, both Kennedys assassinated. Then you learn about COINTELPRO operation, and I'm going to drop a little bomb here. Ronald Reagan got his political start in the FBI COINTELPRO operation. He started outing leftist-leaning actors in Hollywood,
shit.
working with the FBI. Then the FBI, in return,
Gave him the
put him in as
governorship.
governor. Yep.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know
a lot
that
of
one?
people don't get that. Yeah, of course. I read his books. I've read multiple of Reagan's books actually. Um, and I even talked about it this morning in our group chat and stuff because a couple people were like, "Oh, I love Reagan," and there was like a quote on there that he said. It was a pretty interesting quote. But let's get through some of these bubbles. But yeah, 100%, man.
Yeah,
People don't think beyond like the tip of their nose.
Hey, Dad, bro, that's crazy that you said that, bro. And now that you said it, it made me think of something like, who else better to get us to forget about 9/11 than Obama, bro? Who else to bury
boom.
that one? What more?
Yep.
What motherfucker would sell you shit? And I'm telling you, bro, they gave us Obama. We forgot all about 9/11. We said, yeah, the world finna change now. Oh my goodness, bro.
Yeah, we were.
Meatballs,
Look at
meatballs, you nailed it on my podcast for that. I use a picture of a Trojan horse with Obama climbing out of it.
It's funny as hell. You hear him in the studio making beats right now as he's still chiming in with us and shit.
I have a little girl. I care
Multitasking.
which bathroom you use.
Yep.
Vigil Cube. Well, okay. So my point on the
I'm
bathroom
with him
thing.
on that. He missed your point, but I'm with him on that too. I don't think we need grown men, born grown men in women's restrooms. I don't think so
My,
either, man.
yeah, I just think it wasn't a national conversation. But I agree with you, Vigil Q. And the only loser in the whole thing was now there's piss all over the seats in every bathroom.
Yeah, instead
So
of half of
everybody,
it being not that way. Yeah, yeah.
right? Everybody
Vigil
loses.
Q, you kind of missed. Maybe you came in right in the middle of what he was saying, but you missed his point on that completely.
Well, some of us have an issue with the bathroom issue because I don't want my kids being indoctrinated and basically using the same bathroom as some adult, who's a different sex. I mean, there's a lot of sickos out there, and I don't
Right.
agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we feel the
no,
same way, but again, he's using that as an example of how we're not divided. It's not that he doesn't care what the laws are about that or how loosened they become. He's saying as individuals, he doesn't care what bathroom you use. He doesn't care what
right.
religion you believe in. He doesn't care what sexuality you choose. He doesn't, beyond obviously pedophilia, but like the accepted sexual. He doesn't care if you're a homosexual, pansexual, bisexual. He's saying that he doesn't care what race you're. It's not. He's not. You guys are choosing that issue to kind of think that he's saying one thing that he's not saying. He's not
Let me just
saying that.
clarify. Let me just clarify real quick. I think it shouldn't even talk about gender, man, woman, or anything. There should be a picture of a dick on one door and a picture of a pussy on the other door. You got this one, you use that bathroom. You use that one, you got that
You go to
bathroom. I
this
don't
one.
care what you
Right.
I don't care what you call yourself, because if I had a daughter and some dude walked in and whipped his dick out while she was in the bath,
Nah. Right.
I would probably knock
Right.
that dude out.
Right. Even if that dude was in a dress. Exactly. I understand what you're saying.
I don't care.
Where is this
You whip your dick out in
UPC
front of my
group?
daughter,
Is
we
this
get
a
a problem.
Facebook group? I don't think Instagram has groups. Where is this?
It's a stereo group, my friend. Stereo, bro. This app right here.
True, you better stop talking shit about my man, Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban.
For real.
I really wish, out of the level of respect I have for her, that she wasn't serious about that, but she really is. It's very sad.
Oh man, that sucks. So you said, you said, not a single one of them sports team owners is not a piece of shit. Something like that, right? They're the
Sure,
problem. You
Vigil
said
Q.
they're the problem. When you said that,
They
I was
are, bro.
thinking, no, the people watching it, they're the problem. And then you said, and I watch it, and I'm like, fuck.
No, I mean, you're right, bro. I mean, it's those of us watching it. We are the problem too, but we didn't start that problem. We're given that problem, bro. They use it as an opiate to the masses, bro. You can't. I'm a huge proponent of not blaming the people. I'm sorry, but that's the way I'm always going to be. So we're given these shits, just like we're given these shits to argue about, whether it's like gender equality or who can use what bathroom or BLM movement. They give us these things to fight about and argue about. So it's up to us to rise against them. So I get what you're saying to an extent, but no, I'm not saying your argument's invalid even with it being our fault, because we can choose against that. And when I say I watched it, I say I watched it. I don't watch it anymore. And it's not just because it bad and I good. It's because I kind of just outgrew it to an extent. And it's sad because I actually miss sports in a lot of ways, but I simply don't have the time or desire to be as engaged in it as I once was. That's all it is. So I mean, listen, when I say that the owners are the problem, it's because a lot of them are from these old money families. They are the elitists. Like, it costs so much money to own one of these professional sports franchises. That's why, at best, you got people like DeBartolo family, the Bartolos that owned the 49ers back in the day, and they're all fucking crime bosses. And then at worst, you have all these corporate monsters, like people who are like, oh, Mark Cuban, he's so cool. Like, oh my God. Please wake the fuck up and realize what these people represent. Mark Cuban is not a good dude, man. Go ahead.
And I never heard you saying all of them are this. You are hypothesizing, saying, oh, and all those rich bastards, they're probably part of these cabals too.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. You might even find an isolated member of that ownership regime that maybe isn't, but the vast
Right.
majority of them are. They are the
Right.
problems, you know? And you,
Yeah.
me, Vigil Q, Fearless, everyone else on here, we are all just pawns. We are plebes. We're beneath pawns. We're not even on the chessboard. And we never will
Yeah.
be.
No. Or we would be assassinated.
Right. The chessboard sits on top of us.
Meatballs is a flat earther? Wait, and another thing in True Dab God? You guys are flat earthers? Tell me it ain't so.
No. No, man.
No. He must have been
Oh,
listening
please
to the
don't.
wrong broadcasts.
Please don't spread that.
I think
That's
he's
a
just
rumor.
trolling or something. A lot of times people just
No,
like to troll.
he's a cool dude.
Yeah, aliens, I think they're...
All
That's
right,
a
you're
kid.
done. Underage.
Bye-bye.
Sorry, bud. There's rules.
Well, whether it's demons or extraterrestrial or interdimensional beings, we can call them aliens either way. They're foreign. They're something we're not familiar with.
Yes,
But
yes,
you really
yes.
believe CERN is trying to break through that dimensional barrier or something like that?
That's what they
See,
say.
I
That's
thought it
what
was an
they
interesting
say.
theory, but you know it's been running. It's been running for a while. They keep doing new
Look
projects
at their website, bro.
and you know the whole New Age spiritual woo crew is all up in arms, screaming and yelling about how they're going to let the demons through, along with the Christian, the New Ager Christians especially. The evangelicals love this stuff. They really think the devil's going to come through, and you know I just don't see any evidence of this, none whatsoever. It's been running for a while,
Yeah.
and there's no demons yet. Yeah,
Well,
you know the
we kind
chances
of
that there's any sort of reality to that is really, really slim, right?
You gotta vigil Q. Here's one of your problems, bro. And I'm friends with you. I'm in and out of your broadcasts, and you're in and out of mine. However, and there's a lot of things we agree on. And I think that's always going to be. But what you're doing here is you're running with your own bias, and you're trying to fit this shit into it. Like I get it, you're not religious, and neither am I. But it's not a
neither am I.
matter of that stuff, and it's not a matter of whether we see demons running around now and shit. CERN's been around since the fucking 50s, and they've been doing shit to manipulate the global scientific industries that entire time. So, you can take a look at the fact that clearly they are accredited to starting the internet in the late 80s, 89, the scientists from there, and just look at what the internet is and the place that it holds in our world right now. Everything runs off of it. So clearly they're very important, CERN is, and they're doing a lot of things. They say on their own website what they're trying to do is utilize this particle collider to not only open possible black holes and be able to start those things, but they also are starting to they're opening portals. So you can call that what you will, and who knows what the fuck's on the other side of it. I don't have to be a Bible thumper to think that there's some sort of possible demonic force or alien or interdimensional being or anything else on the other side of there that might not have the best wishes for mankind. Maybe they do. Maybe they're going to be awesome and stuff, But and you know what? Maybe we haven't cracked that code yet. Maybe they haven't opened it yet. But the whole point is that they say they're trying to. They literally say they're trying to. So that's all I was saying. Go watch their ceremonies they do. Look at the Goddard Tunnel. It's like what 80 miles away from there in Switzerland as well. Look at the Goddard Tunnel opening ceremony. Watch the second half of that ceremony when it's outdoors. Watch that and then let's have a talk, bro. Please watch that and then let's do a broadcast together. I'd be very curious to hear what you have to say about that once you've watched it.
Yeah, and just to touch on the whole demons thing, we're not talking about religion, and I think demons is an overly simplistic term, right? I think what we're talking about is they're fucking with a scientific Pandora's box. They're fucking with they might open something that they can't control and can't close. We don't know what they're fucking with, but should they be fucking with it? I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, and they've had a lot of weird shit go on, man. There's a dude who supposedly stuck his head, and this isn't mainstream news even, inside the particle collider, the hadron collider, and he disappeared.
Whoa.
Yeah, the fuck? And they turn it off and then turn it back on and shit. Like everything they do is fucking weird. People need to look more into this shit. I mean, they're using the highest amounts of technology and putting the most amount of money into this shit. I mean, they're not doing it to study frogs mating. I mean, they're doing it for some serious fucking shit. And why is the statue of Shiva out in front of there?
Right, the goddess of destruction.
Right. The destroyer of worlds, destroyer of realms. Like, why is she who they worship as a central figure, bro? And look at some of their
Yeah.
videos they put on their own website, man.
And once again, we're not telling you they are doing X with it. We're saying they're doing some shit that is very scary in nature, and they're fucking with technologies that if they're successful, we don't, as a people, we don't have the knowledge, in my mind, to be fucking with these things, because it might be a Pandora's box, right? What if you open a portal, but some other shit comes through? Like, and what if you open a portal, but it goes to an area that has no oxygen or no environment? What if you open, right? There's 1,000
Right.
possibilities.
I mean, look at who. I mean, do people even realize who runs CERN? CERN's not just like a Switzerland company. There's something, you got 20 plus countries that all banded together, just like in Antarctica, and they're all in it together, man. So you got to look at things like the EU and the UN and shit. Like, they're literally all in it together. You got these different leading factions of these countries that are all in this shit together and heavily invested in it too.
Absolutely.
But wouldn't it be
Yep.
odd if they were just in it for the common good? Like, is that I'm curious, Vigilique. I know you're constantly, questioning us and stuff, and that's fine, brother. But what do you think? I'm curious. What do you think? Do you think that they're in it just for better benefit of scientific research to help mankind, or are you aware of the possibility that there might be more nefarious agendas here? I'm very curious, bro.
At the end
Right.
of the day, vaccines, they are just money makers for these people. And
It's a
basically, what
product.
they do is they want to keep a sick and diseased society. I do not care what no one tells me. I don't even trust that shit as far as I could fucking throw it. So, far as I'm concerned,
Thank you.
keep your ass out of these hospitals as much as you can and do your own health. You are your own best doctor.
Thank you, Lady Bomber. I agree 100%. They are products. This is an industry that's going to make trillions, and their customer is COVID. So they swept COVID, at least the fear of it at the very minimum. I'm not saying the disease doesn't exist. They swept it across everything, shut down all the economies, and make all of us beg for the vaccine to reopen it. So, even with the speech that Biden gave a couple days ago, he talked about how they've now confirmed the purchase of 100 million vaccines from Moderna. They confirmed the purchase of 100 million additional from Pfizer. These are purchases that are confirmed with our tax dollars from their industry lining all of their pockets, dude, at our expense. So, I mean, even if you're not looking beyond that and talking about some of the dangers of the contents of these vaccines, clearly, like she just said, it's a fucking money making industry. Drop a follow on my boy right here. Drop a follow on, and another thing, drop a follow on me if you haven't already. Let's get through some of these messages real quick.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, hey, and that other thing. Hey, what's up, man?
What's up?
True, I'm back home, man. I had
Back
to do a
from the
little
store.
ride around the block and stuff. I'm back. What
Brother
I
William.
miss? What I miss? Beep, 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 beep,
A
beep.
lot.
You
He sounds like
still
a
in the house? I
Jetsons
want to
car.
open the door.
We
Oh,
covered
there
some
he is.
ground.
Hey, there you are, man. Here I is.
Hey, glad you're back from the store safely, brother William. You didn't miss anything per se, man, and we're still going to go through it, and we're going to get to some more comments here, and I think Vigilique has some things he wants to say, possibly
Vigil
even
Q.
race Vigil Q.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's go ahead and knock these bubbles down.
Because they call it propaganda. Just last night I was having an argument with my cousin. He's so far left, it's not even funny. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's fake news, that's propaganda. You can't believe the stuff that they're showing you. It's not, they just want you to believe what they want you to believe so that you believe their conspiracy theories. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, like, you are fucking brainwashed. Like, you won't
Yeah.
do any research. Just because what the media says, that's what it is. Alrighty then. You stay doing what you're doing, and I'll do what I do.
Stay in your bubble.
And that's it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you can't. Some people you literally can't. That's why that saying "you can lead a horse to water, you can't make him drink" is around. Because even though drinking's the only thing that's going to save that horse's life, and even though you went out of your way to lead them there, you still can't make them make those kind of decisions. That's why we have McDonald's. It's one of the leading food sources for us here, and shit like that. Like it's fucked up, man. But we can't make these people's minds up for them and shit. And I believe one of the beauties of our country is that they can have their own opinions no matter how ignorant we might view them as, they can have their own opinions. You know, that's freedom for you.
Yeah, Queen Rubia, I would chalk it up to some people just, you can't handle the truth, and what that's called is cognitive dissonance, right? When you have such a hardcore belief, when everything, your whole reality is based on you maintaining this belief that your government loves you or whatever the belief is.
Or that Mark
dissonance,
Cuban's a good guy or something.
or something like crazy like that, right? Cognitive dissonance is when you cling to that idea because it would shatter your whole reality so much. You cling to that idea even when presented with new information. So that's the 9/11 syndrome. People don't want to believe the harsh reality. Nobody wants to believe that your government would fucking kill you, would fuck you over, would test unknown
Experiment
drugs
on
or
you.
experiment on you, would give you LSD in a goal to erase your mind, right? Would throw you in an internment camp, would give you syphilis, would crash
Would
a
bombard
plane
you with
into a
electromagnetic interference.
yep,
Yeah,
would
crash a plane into our buildings and
buildings,
kill thousands of us. Right.
or plan to do it and release those plans like Operation Northwoods. And Operation Northwoods, for people who don't know, but it was basically the Justice Department gave this plan to President Kennedy that was basically a precursor to 9/11. They were going to fly a remote controlled 747 into a U.S. skyscraper, blame it on Cuba to try to justify going to war against Cuba. So,
and people
crazy.
can look it up. They can read it. It's government documents.
And then just real quick on what Lady Bomber said about sick and diseased. They want to keep us sick and diseased. Look at the preservatives they put in vaccines. Formaldehyde, aluminum, mercury. Look at the fact that if you stay in a hospital more than 5 days, you're more than likely to catch something from the hospital. Look at the fact that they put fluoride in our water, which is a known neurotoxin. Look at the fact that they're allowing GMOs in our food, right? Roundup. Every household uses Roundup on their lawn. It's this horrible cancer-causing toxin.
And that's why Monsanto dissolved. And that's why Bayer bought them, They didn't want to take some of the lawsuits from that shit. And they already did.
Right.
They've paid out hundreds of billions of dollars in this shit now. It's a lot of fucking money they've paid out. I got pages and pages of it written down. Lady Bomber, do me a favor. I'm not sure why you're not following me yet, and I'm glad you're following Dave. Drop me a follow. I want you in some of my future talks. I want your comments coming in. I appreciate you.
Yes, I do trust our government. The question is, should the government trust me?
From that laugh, they probably shouldn't.
And that's exactly it. People
What's
should
up,
not
Bobby?
be afraid of their government. The government should be afraid of its people. Bam.
To an extent, right. They should at least not necessarily be fearful of us, but they should be cognizant of the fact they work for us and not against us, even though they clearly do work against us at this point. And we are all just plebes, man. It's happened in civilization after civilization after civilization. We're not new. We're not special. We're just following along the footsteps of many others before us.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely.
Obama was the biggest pacifier for so many people. That's why I was like, I don't know why, but there's something about that whole Obama, like when the whole Obama phenomenon kicked off, it just didn't pass the piss test, and thank God I was not one of those who got swept up in it.
I think you
Lady
may be a little
Bomber.
bit older than me. I think she was a little older or a little wiser or a little keener because I really did fall for it, man. I don't feel like I'm stupid. I know I'm not a genius, obviously, far from it, but I'm not stupid. What I was naive. I was tired of the shit of what's ever since 9/11, the Patriot Act, George Bush. I thought he was a fucking joke, and all the wars they had us in, and all the corruption in his cabinet, and even his vice president and shit. I just couldn't stand it anymore. So I had to vote Obama. I believed in him because of that. And I was wrong. I do understand that, I really do.
I agree. I got caught up in it too, and I think the key word, hope. We were all so fucking shattered that word really resonated, man. Everybody
Yeah, they
wanted.
used that word. They did. That's
Oh,
true.
fuck yeah! It was used like a
They
weapon because
they
everybody
ran on a
wanted to
platform of
believe.
change with the moniker of hope, like for sure, bro.
Everybody wanted to believe, dude. So, Lady Bomber, check out my two podcasts ago that I did, and another thing with Dave on Spotify, wherever you want to check out your podcasts. But this one was called Trump Derangement Syndrome and How Obama Led Us Here, and I go through it, and I play clips. I play a clip from the Obama inauguration. The crowd was at a fervor, man. We want change. We want change. Dude, when I was watching it, I just did the podcast a month ago or something. Dude, it made me tear up because it brought me back to that moment that you were saying. You and I are skeptics, dude, but it got us because what the fuck else, you know? And then
What
he
else do
shit
we
on us,
have
and
for hope?
what else
Yep.
did we have? And then he shit on us, and that led to Occupy.
Yeah, and that's why we're so disillusioned to the voting process now. We
Uh-huh.
got fucked firsthand. Same
Fuck.
reason why when a girl falls in love with a dude and he cheats on her and she finds out and it breaks her heart, all of a sudden she's romantically less optimistic from that point forward. So, yeah, man, it shit happens. We all learn from our experiences.
Yeah.
They scar
Totally.
us.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, we're supposed
I
to.
don't understand what you mean by stereo group. Stereo doesn't have groups. As far as I know. Does stereo have
It
groups?
does. Well, it's beautiful that you're discovering now that knowledge exists beyond what you know, Vigil Q. I think that's a valuable lesson, and I'm glad you learned it here. Honestly, I think that's a beautiful thing.
Disagree. The problem exists by nature. It is human nature to want to zone out to bullshit. This is why the Romans did it. It's been a thing in just about every culture, used by authorities to distract the masses.
Used
It's
by
how
authorities. Good point, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It's used by authorities. So you got to realize that it's not just human nature. Here's something I've come to discover myself, Vigil. We can't necessarily know exactly what human nature is when us as humans have been under the rule of authority since longer than any of our generations, as far back as we could go, can remember. So we've
Thank you.
lived in this constructed reality. We can't know extensively what human nature entails because we live in their system. So you gotta start looking beyond what you think as truth right now, and that way you have the ability to learn, Vigil. You're a very, very intelligent person. But that's the danger of intelligence, bro. Ego can get entwined with that, and you lose the ability to learn. You lose the ability to even listen to people that might have a different view than you. And that you'll be doing yourself a disservice, and you'll be doing your intellect a disservice at the same time.
Yeah, and we've been controlled for centuries and centuries by the ruling bloodlines, right? So anything that is in our public vernacular is so controlled. So we're like lab rats, right? To a certain extent, if you want to, for an
100%. 100%.
analogy. For an analogy, right? Like there's these elite bloodlines that you don't even know their names. They give us the George Bushes, the Obamas. They give us those. So here, assassinate that guy because it's not going to change anything, right? But the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, the Council on Foreign Relations, these are where the world leaders, the people who are really deciding world policy, way above any one government of a country, that's where these people and these decisions take place, is in those groups.
100%, man. And that's why, somebody like Vigil Q, they want to bill themselves as a skeptic, But however, it's like the only stance they take is being skeptic against the skeptics. They're skeptic against the truth seekers instead of seeking truth themselves. And it's just like that guy that came in your talk yesterday. He's a lot smarter than that guy and probably has a lot more knowledge, but it's still the same dangerous road. He's only wanting to launch arguments. He's not wanting to see anything that anyone says. He wants to pick a certain piece out of something and argue just about that rather than see the entire picture that we're trying to paint here. And that's dangerous, bro, to yourself.
Yeah, I think Vigil Q likes to just try to get people to think on a deeper level. So I think it's
that's what we're trying to do, though. Without feeling the need to defend your boy, in reality, that's not what he's doing. He's actually halting discussions that are being taken place that are more of an open format, and he wants to literally, like I just said, very specifically, pinpoint certain things to argue about and criticize, and then call himself a skeptic for that. But in reality, he's only targeting the skeptics with what he's saying. He's only targeting you. He's only targeting me and what we're saying, rather than wanting to take place in an open conversation, bro. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm going to point that out because that's true. There's no reason to sugarcoat it at all, bro, because then I'll just start going in on it even more, because I'm not a sugarcoater.
No.
That's the reality of what people like that do. They come on an app like this and they just do little things like that instead of wanting to hold an open conversation. So they'll do it under the guise of an open conversation, but that's simply not what they're doing. They want to critique you, and they want to act like the things you're saying are ridiculous. And so that's why I think that's ridiculous, brother.
No, I follow you, but I just don't want to throw Vigil Q into that group of them.
I wouldn't want to either, but he put himself in that group, bro. That's what he does. I've heard him on there a million times, bro, and I've been as lenient as I can with them, and I'm not upset by it. However, it's a little bit disconcerting, and I'm over shit like that. If people don't want to necessarily agree with us, that's what's up. Again, that's part of the beauty of being an American. But if you're going to come into our room when we're holding an open discussion and only want to critique and argue, I'm sorry, I have a little patience for that when that's all that happens over and over and over again. And they'll ignore 6 things you just said and another thing, and they'll pick one part of it, and they'll want to critique you and argue with you on that one thing. I'm sorry, but that is detrimental to the room environment to begin with, bro. It's a nuisance more than anything, bro.
I agree, and it tears down the conversation, and it prevents the conversation to moving forward, and it prevents unity. And thank you for bringing up this guy last night, because what this guy did, without mentioning any names, was just pontificate. He got so lost in intellectualizing about the generalities of how anybody that produces a documentary could have an agenda, could be trying to sway you, what type of music do they use. You can get lost in that. You can pontificate for days. They call it analysis paralysis, right? You get lost.
Exactly.
You get lost in the fact that there's so. I have too. Everybody has. But I try to dig through it, because you can get lost in the fact that there's so much information that you just don't dig. But you and I obviously dig and find the nuggets, because of course.
All right, thanks for tuning into another episode and another thing with Dave. Please follow, subscribe, and share. I'm on all social media and another thing with Dave. And keep seeking the truth.